or forward movement towards a destination. And in this case, for the Black African American community, our destination is onward to greatness, which leads me to the essential question. Have we as the Black African American community come far with police brutality and community relations? Have we come far with Jim Crow laws, black codes, lynching, fire hose, and being shot at the minute we walked out our house? Have we come far by being shot at by the bullets of hate and becoming the very minuscule speck embedded in the land that we call the home, the free, and the brave? Have we come far? Well, the way that our society is run today, it has become more evident that our society has progressed in decreasing police brutality and increasing a better relationship with the police and the African American community. Statistics shows in the year of 2015, 26% of African Americans were killed by the police with or without reason. As the years increased, the killings amongst African Americans started to subside, from 26% in the year 2015 to 24% in the year of 2016 to a whopping 22% in the year of 2017. We can honestly say that we have seen some improvements just by only 2%. To others, this may not seem to be a good amount of progress, but what we fail to realize is that progress is progress, no matter how small or big it is. And this is why I can agree with George Bernard Shaw when he said, "Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." The only people stopping the progress as of right now is you, because the progress is all around us, which baffles me on why you can't see it, and why your mind is so subjected on the negative things that took place back then. It's time now to look at things from a different lens. Police killed so many people back then, which is highly agreeable. But as of right now, from all of the killings, 6% of African Americans are staying alive versus the 0 back then, which brings me to closing. Frederick Douglass once said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress." So instead of me asking myself the question, I'll just ask you, how far have we come? Thank you.
Show Alicia some love. Can I get the 9th grade debater for police and community relationships, Bria Lewis? Give Bria some love, 9th grade. Show Bria some love.
Philando Castile was shot and killed in front of his fiancée, Diamond Reynolds, and 3-year-old daughter. His officer who shot him, Yanez, was not guilty of second-degree murder. Michael Brown was shot and killed also, and no charges were filed against that officer. Stephon Clark was shot and killed in his backyard because police thought that he was pulling out a gun, but it was really his iPhone. He was shot 20 times in the back. As you can see, we haven't made progress because all these people have been killed wrongfully by police officers who haven't had any charges filed against them. Their community nor families have had justice for these cold-blooded murders. According to the Washington Post, blacks are 25% as likely as white Americans to be shot and killed by police officers. In 2016, police officers killed 258 African Americans. Overall, it has been said that African Americans have made no progress because of the killings of many black people. How are we supposed to trust an officer when we are afraid to look him in the eye and with the fear that we may die? Many will disagree with this statement, but if you look at it with no bias in your eyes, it can be seen that they are still suffering from all types of police brutality, and it's been going on for a long time and may never end. Thank you.
Thank you, Bria. And can I get the education debater for 10th grade, Giselle Tracy? Just gonna take the mic. Okay. There you go.
Good morning. My name is Giselle Tracy, and today I will be speaking with you guys on education, the progress in education amongst black people. Education comes from within. You get it from struggle and effort and thought, said Napoleon Hill. African Americans have accomplished so much throughout history and are now flourishing in education. From being prohibited from learning to creating contraband schools to forming their own HBCUs in America. African Americans are now able to get the education they struggled and worked hard for. This is why we continue to progress and continue to evolve in education. According to the National Center of Education Statistics, the black undergraduate fall enrollment in degree-granting institutions from 1976 to 2012 has increased. It illustrates that in 1976, the enrollment of blacks was 943,355, when in 2012, the enrollment was 2,592,800. This means that the enrollment rate increased by 2,591,502. That's a big number. This is significant because it shows how the number of blacks enrolled in schools has increased and progressed over time. So how can you say that we haven't progressed? Which proves that the growth of African Americans in education has shown that they have persevered through the catastrophe and the struggles and have positively progressed through American history. NCES states that the ages 15 to 24 dropout rate in high school has decreased from 1974 to 2012, when in 1974 the dropout rate was 11.6, but in 2012 it dropped to 6.8. This clearly shows that us blacks came out from that place of failure and defeat and rose above the havoc and strongly progressed throughout American history. Throughout this debate, I have demonstrated that blacks have progressed in education. We continue to bloom through the years. You may say that we haven't progressed, but deep down inside, you know that we have progressed. You're a living proof. You're sitting down here and you're sitting down here right now, and what, you guys are failing in school? No, we're not. As Dr. Perry always talks to us about how we're excelling, we're showing that we're progressing in education. So how can you say that we haven't? Thank you.
Thank you, Giselle.